Everybody ready to go?
We can proceed.
So Sarde after dinner, here let me switch to desktop react, is Lebanon's most, I would say arguably most popular podcast. They have 226,000 subscribers. It is hosted by Mouain Jabir and Medea. I don't know her last name. They were a couple. I don't think that was never a secret, was it? Everybody knows they were dating, right?
I don't know if I was stupid, but I found out until very late, like until right before they stopped, that they were dating.
They were dating. They were together.
It never seemed like
Look, I never watched too many episodes to know if they were very open about it or like how much of a couple they acted like on the show, but they were a couple. Okay, they hosted a very popular interview show in Lebanon, interview-based podcast. Hosted a whole bunch of guests from like politicians to comedians to actors to athletes, etc. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, I don't usually watch interview-based podcasts in general. I'm not a big fan of interviews. I don't really care about guests. I don't want to ask. I don't even care to like conduct interviews. I don't want to ask people about their day, why they started their career, why did they do what they do. Like I generally don't care unless the person is like really weird and like interesting to me. You know, like very kooky, like a weird TikTok character. I'll spend 6 hours with them. I'll do a documentary. I'll spend a week with them. But like, don't sit me in front of someone and me have to ask about like their career or like, why did you start singing? Why did you start acting? I don't care. I truly don't care. But that's their show, and it did very well for them. And it is I would say the one like Lebanese podcast that like transcended YouTube and social media. Like boomers watched Sarde, old people that never engage with social media or like memes or Instagram and stuff would watch the show. So I'll give it that. Like it was definitely a very successful
my
show.
Russian painting teacher used to watch them so she could learn Arabic.
Yeah, I think a lot of other people did that. Like all their episodes are like subtitled, etc. Now, one of my problems with the show was that I'd never felt like it really represented Lebanon very well. They kind of mostly, I would say, represent like the elites in Lebanon. You know what I mean? Sort of like but, which is fine. Not every podcast has to appeal to everyone. Not every podcast has to be host like the same kind of people aren't going to host the same podcast. But like to me, I felt like the show was a little bit out of touch with the day-to-day reality of like your average Lebanese viewer. And I think it sends a different image of Lebanon that I don't think applies to everyone. You know what I mean? And I also think they were kind of sometimes involved with some sketchy situations. Like they were part of a political party called Mintashrin that started at like during the revolution in October with like some dude, I forgot what his name was, Maroon. He wore like the big fedora. He like stole a bunch of money from people. Like there was some questionable stuff.
I don't know.
Some questionable ties. Now I'll be honest. Now a lot of the OGs watching this right now will know my history with Sarde. I used to work with Mouain. Mouain was a friend of mine. We worked together for a few years at a company like a number of years ago. And I was supposed to be a guest on their show back like in the early days.
Many years ago.
I only bring this up for the context. This is water, mission under the bridge, under the core of the earth. We have moved
in the sewers.
We have moved on so far from this, but like I just have to mention it right here just for putting all my cards on the table. I was supposed to be a guest on Sarde many years ago. And after the Beirut blast happened, there was a famous nightclub called the Grand Factory that kind of like blew up like a lot of businesses, okay? It like exploded and there was a lot of heavy damage sustained at the Grand Factory. And they eventually started a fundraiser to rebuild. And like when I say massive club, it's like a fucking hangar. Like that thing is fucking massive. And they did a public fundraiser asking people to send money, to donate money so they could rebuild the club. So I was hosting my podcast at the time and I was like, isn't it weird for like a massive nightclub with like tons of like rich business partners to be asking like the public to fund like their business essentially? Because there's like hundreds of partners at Grand Factory. Like half of Lebanon owns shares of that club. And a lot of them are like wealthy. I'm like, it just seemed kind of weird to me. So I talked about it on the podcast. I was like, hey, isn't it weird that they're asking for money to rebuild their club? Me saying that was enough for Mouain and Medea, the host of Sarde, to be like, hey, we're not comfortable with you coming on our show next week. Maybe we'll schedule it for another time. But like, we kind of disagree with what you said. A lot of their friends were shareholders at the Grand Factory, the club, which I didn't shit on it. I just said, why are they begging for money? So that was enough.
It's fine to question, I believe.
I was just asking logical questions, standing up for the people of Lebanon that are, donating their hard-earned money to rebuild the Grand Factory brick by brick. So ever since then, This podcast relationship with Sarde After Dinner has been on
Crumbled.
rocky. It has crumbled, folks. You know what I mean? I've never been on their show. They've never been on my show. But it's not the reason why I'm criticizing them or anything. They've had some sketchy guests, and they've platformed people that I don't think they should platform, including Carlos Risson, including some other dude who like was accused of like sexually harassing an intern in France. Like what? And I was too much. You know what I mean? You criticized the Grand Factory. Anyways, that's not the point. Their show is extremely successful. It does great. Like some of their most popular episodes, they have one that did great for them, that went virally on number 40. This one with Omar El-Shugri, who was a prisoner who got to escape Sednaya prison. He got to leave Sednaya prison, the prison in Syria that was operated by Bashar al-Assad, where they tortured thousands of Syrian prisoners. It has 1.7 million views. They have a lot of like really viral episodes. They got to talk to Mia Khalifa a few years ago. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see what I'm looking at right here. This is the episode with the Syrian prisoner. Here's the Mia Khalifa one. And look, millions of views, incredibly successful channel. Like nothing I can say or criticize can take any of their success away. I'm just giving you guys my honest opinion of the show and why I don't personally watch it. But anyways, 9 months ago, they just disappeared. They just up and disappeared. This was their last video, being an expat, and then nothing. If you go to the community tab, or like it's now called posts, a few months ago when the Assad regime fell, you know, they posted a couple of updates, like just a short, but that was it. This was their final update. 9 months ago, it was a season 4 roundup. Let's read it together. It's a picture of Moain and Medea together, the good old days. Here's the Sarde After Dinner season 4 roundup. This season has been one for the books. 200k subscribers on YouTube, tripled our patrons, got a shout out by GQ Middle East, and met some incredible university students that will shape tomorrow. But to be honest, it feels weird to celebrate with everything going on. We don't know if you guys feel the same. Yet one thing we know is that we grew bigger and better through you. In times of crisis, we try to see hope and find a silver lining wherever we go. So why not take this time to spend time with the ones we love and enjoy this summer as much as we can? We love you and we'll see you soon. Hydrate and use sunscreen. Folks, Sarde did not see us soon. Sarde did not come back from after this post.
And we never saw them again.
We never saw them again. That was the last thing they posted. Not long before that, they also had like a cryptic video that they released on Instagram, both of them together.
The depressed video.
They look depressed, where they're like suffering.
They were crumbling.
They're
Sorry,
like,
I'm laughing.
Yeah, they're like suffering of like exhaustion or something. They're like taking a break. So this was the first.
I really don't want to talk about
this. Was the first sign. Look, if they're not gonna, they've disappeared for 9 months, folks. They've said nothing to their fans. So we are here to ask the questions and give you the answers that Sarde does not want to give you. When rehto? Their Patreon is still up, by the way. Their Patreon, they've been gone for 9 months. They've still, and I'm sorry to mention this, Moain and Medea, do not come for us, but like, y'all are taking money from your patrons for 9 months, and you're not giving anybody an update. Like, you can't do, like, I'm sorry, as someone who has a Patreon, if I take a 2-week break, I'm like sweating bullets. Like, are the patrons gonna leave us?
True.
Are they gonna be mad? They're paying, and I'm not making videos. You disappear for 9 months. You can still go sign up to their Patreon right now. I'm just saying it, okay? I'm not criticizing. I'm just asking questions. Don't you guys miss the old Do Not Worry? Isn't this what you wanted? We're back, baby. Yeehaw! Now let's watch their final
This
video.
video kills me.
مرحبا. أول شيء بدنا نشكركم كل المسجات اللي طلعنا إياهم بس تفرجات وأنا بالمستشفى إن كان على حسابي الخاص على حساب سردة أو كمان على حسابك ميديا. Thank you so much. أنا عادة ما بحب أحكي عن قصص البرايفت، بحب أحكي عن قصص الشخصية لأنه بحس في قصص أهم بكتير عم بتصير بالعالم. بس نحن كنا واعدينكم نطلع سردة كل جمعة وهالكم جمعة ما كنا عم نعمل هذا الشيء، فقلتنا نعطيكم explanation قصيرة على ليش ما كنا موجودين.
And it's like you could skip a couple of weeks. I make a big deal out of it because I get nervous. Like, oh, the patrons, but like he was in the hospital. He sounds like he was dying. Like his voice doesn't normally sound like this.
They don't look fine, which is okay.
Yeah, they look miserable. It's like take more time off.
They look really bad, so عن and take a break.
They did. This was like a year ago at this point almost. They've been taking a long break.
يوم كنت قالوا لي إنه كان عندي نمونيا، يعني التهاب بالرواية وكانت كتير أدفانس، كانت كتير مضطرة وما كنت عم بقدر أتنفس، كان عندي كتير صعوبة. اضطريت أروح على المستشفى لكم يوم كرمال يعطوني أنتيبيوتكس ويعالجوني. من هونيك طلعت صورة المستشفى. طلعت منها الحمد لله، مشي حال الأنتيبيوتكس وبعد شوي كمان أنا عندي موعد مع الحكيم. بس كمان بدي أوضح شيء إنه النمونيا كانت جزء من مشكلة أكبر بكتير عم بتصير فينا أنا وميديا.
أنا كنت كتير تعبانة، صار لي فترة ما كنت عارفة ليه هالقد تعبانة، ما كان عندي قوة أعملهم، وبتعرفوا كل شي مشاكل هيك نفسية.
I mean, God bless it. Every couple goes through difficult times. Maybe they were making each other tired. Maybe the reason Medea was feeling so tired was sitting right there, and maybe the reason Moain was getting that pneumonia is sitting right there next to him wearing that blue shirt. Maybe. Hey, we're kidding, folks. We're just joking. Having a good time right here.
ما بيبانوا عليك شوي
مش مشكلتي أنا.
exactly، وصرت لمرحلة ما كنت في خبي بقى ورا الميك اب، فشفت حكيم وقال لي عندك بيرن اوت. البيرن اوت مش بس ضغط بس الشغل ويكون عندي كتير شغل. بوقتها بهيدي الفترة كان بدي اهتم بكتير قصص لحالي، مشاكل شخصية وعائلة. فمعين قال لي صار وقت تاخدي بريك، ترتاحي شوي،
تاخد شوية نفس.
ايه تاخد شوية نفس. انتو ما كان عندك نفس.
ما كان عندي نفس.
بس وقررنا كمان ناخد اوف ليتل بيت كمان، لانه لازم نرتاح
تنصير أحسن.
شوي احسن مثل ما عم بيقول معين. فما رح نرجع قبل العيد، رح نرجع نشوفكم من بعد العيد مع ضيوف حلوين.
ضيوف كثير قوية. ثانك يو للبيشنس تبعكم. بعرف إنه كانت هيك غيبة شوي ثقيلة، بس صدقونا لما نقول لكم إنه I think هذا البريك كلنا كنا عايزينه، و can't wait to see you again. و thanks again لكل هول المسجز، يعني ما استوعبت شو صار. Thank you so much.
So I do think they released a couple of episodes after this video, right? There was a couple of episodes. They did one with Shumakin, and then a couple of, and then the final one 9 months ago, and then poof, folks, zero. When Bashar al-Assad's regime fell, they released like a short, like a reel, an Instagram reel, like, you know what I mean? But like nothing official, no word of them together. Now, they have been seen individually across the web. Mu'ayin has been very active on the like conference circuit, going to conferences, talking in conferences.
And the speaking area.
And speaking in conferences. Conferences, folks.
Conferences.
Here. Conferences. So here, let's go to let me cut to a desktop. So these are just from his Instagram. Okay, nothing crazy. Here's Mu'ayin Jabir with Malik Maktabi at the 1 billion summit. Here he is talking about probably, content, media, etc., etc. Great, more photos. Excuse me. Technical difficulties, folks. What's happening? Here we go. Let me make this simple. Boom. Here he is at another. He's talking with Entertainment Tonight. Mu'ayin Jabir, incredible experience, etc. The founder, the creator of Sarde, folks. The creator of Sarde. This is how I guess he's positioning him. He is the co-creator of Sarde. Here he is again on stage talking about Sarde. He is the expert. Here he is again wearing a Sarde t-shirt. And he's like, new achievement unlocked, 3 different university talks in 3 different languages. Azam University in Arabic, La Sorbonne University in French, and Harvard University in English. So he's making the rounds, and here he is with Medea actually, so he is not hiding her in the closet in this one. Medea he has brought her with him to this event. Again, I'm kidding about the closet, folks, I'm kidding. New achievement unlocked. This is live, we're doing this live. I'm trying to be funny. I would normally cut this out if this wasn't live. I would cut it out, but I can't, okay? We gotta live with it. Mu'ayin Medea, عم نمزح معكم. ما تزعلوا منا. You have forced my hand. You have disappeared. The people have questions. Here is Mu'ayin again at another event. Winter Arc, thank you to the incredible people at 1 Billion Summit and iMedia Group for believing in our powerful message. So Mu'ayin is hitting like the fucking TEDx speeches every other week. I am the creator of Sarde. I have made Sarde. Sarde is the best. Let me teach you how to make Sarde, and I am the Sarde man. It was good for him. Here's another speech. It's the same speech. He's got the same outfit on. Good for our boy.
That's what he's saying.
Good for our boy. You know what I mean? He's doing all these speeches, but where's Medea? I thought Sarde was Medea and Mu'ayin. When I think of Sarde, I think of Medea and Mu'ayin. Just like when I thought of Shumakin, I would think of Jawad and Rana. We're all getting used to Riwa now. Give it a little bit of time. Everybody's getting there. But like, they were an iconic show. You know what I mean? Again, Sarde, whatever I think about it, whether I like it or not, it's an iconic show. So what happened? Well, we got our first glimpse of what actually kind of happened in this interview that Mu'ayin was giving with one of these conferences. Conferences! I hope they don't have music in the back.
What's the most painful thing you've ever been told?
He's not gonna wake up today.
That was something
Okay,
that the
I'm
doctor
gonna-
once told me when my father was in a coma for 6 days. And that
Okay, that's sad. Here, we don't need to see this because there's music and it's probably copyrighted. Let me just see if this is where she asks him, is Sarde coming back?
that you could do.
Tell me your name and where are you from?
My name is Moin Ali Jaber. I am from
Okay, we don't. This sounds like copyrighted music. I'll be honest with you guys. I know copyrighted music when I hear it at this point. Here is the other interview.
فريد منعه لانه بس طول عمر مع انه قطع بظروف كثير صعبه
This is
بتخليك
definitely
انت
Stop
copyrighted
the
music.
music.
اشياء صارت علي وحلقتي مع بيي كمان كنا كثير متوترين انا وياه
Sorry, I'm just.
تصوير لانه انا عم حاور بيي وهو عم يتحاور من ابنه
Sorry, guys.
فيور انترفيوي و في يعني
Well, they ask him at some point, like, when is Sarde coming back? And then he says, it's coming back. It's going to be a little bit different. It's coming back with a new, exciting format. ومدري okay? I'm going to
That's
lose.
in summary.
The whole video is going to be demonetized because of this fucking background music. And I ain't letting it happen, folks.
La, screw it.
We ain't letting it happen. Daddy's fighting for every penny. Let's go. There's no Ethan Klein in this episode. Maybe a little bit at the end, some Matt Leaf stuff. So anyways, that's what we had heard, okay? Said this coming back, slightly different format. We're figuring it out. Again, Patreon is still up. No message for the patrons. No message for on Instagram. No message on YouTube. Nothing. Just poof, gone for 9 months. Media did an interview on El Jadid with somebody. Okay, I don't know. But again, look, that like their show was popular enough that it's landing Media like an interview on a mainstream news channel. So that like you're never gonna see me on a fucking news channel. You know what I mean? That was their kind of show. That was the vibe.
Also, Medea is a famous journalist.
Yeah, she's a journalist as well. Like she has credibility and stuff.
كان عندك تجربة ناجحة بسردة بودكاست.
I'm just pausing for the copyright. And the music, why is it so serious and depressing? Like, goddamn.
هالتجربة الناجحة وقفت.
أنا أخذت غير طريق وهو أخذ غير طريق.
So she's asking.
This was like the first time officially, I think, anyone says that.
This was the first time anyone publicly acknowledged, as far as I know, that Sarde is over. The lady was like, you were part of a very popular, project. Sarde, what happened? She's like, Moain went one way and I went one way. So this is what we know so far, is that unfortunately something must have happened. Look, like I'm not here to make couples are hard, relationships are hard, it takes hard work. Moain and Midda were together and we're not here to talk about relationships or getting into anything personal. They were together for many years. I'm sure it was a lovely relationship. I'm sure that whatever happened must have been probably insurmountable or something. But what we're about to share with you now is a rumor that has come to me, folks. And do not sue me. I refuse to get sued for this. But what I have heard is that at some point, and I don't think that is the case now anymore. I don't think Medea wants to do this. But what I heard, the rumor that I heard, folks, is that Medea at some point considered or threatened to sue Moain over ownership of Sarde.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So apparently, and I heard, I cannot reveal my sources, and please, allegedly, this is all alleged. This is all could be, who could solve this by coming out and sharing some news? Sarde. Come out and tell the people what's going on. But what I heard is that apparently Medea was upset that Moain was going around at all these conferences, making all these speeches, doing all these TED Talks, being like, I did Sarde. I'm the creator of Sarde. We're doing Sarde. I'm doing Sarde. Sarde. Whoa, boom, 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 boom. She's nowhere to be seen. He's being associated with all of that. Who owns the YouTube channel now? If Moain wants to relaunch Sarde on his YouTube channel.
If he wants to keep going.
If he wants to keep going, is Medea going to get a 50% cut from the videos? The only reason Moain has 200,000 subscribers on Sarde is because he was right there with Medea. So theoretically, any view that comes on that channel, they should share the revenue. You know what I mean? They should share the revenue. So is Medea, like, if Moain is going to keep the Sarde channel going with the over 200K subs that they have and that built-in audience that they built together, is Medea entitled to 50%? I say yes. I am here to defend Medea. I think Medea and Moain are in this together. And I have another controversial thing to say. I think haram, Medea and Moain, I don't know what happened in your relationship. I'm not here to ask any questions. But I even though I'm not a fan of your show, and I'm not someone who watches your show, and I would not watch your show if it came back. And if you invited me to come back on your show, I would probably say no. But I will still say this. Haram not to come back to your show. Like, you guys built something great. You built something massive. You built something that, like I said, transcended YouTube and transcended social media. Medea, you're doing interviews on El Jadid. Random old people recognize you in the streets, I'm sure. if there's a way, and I'm sure you guys have thought about it and have discussed it, but if there's any way for you guys to sit down and put your differences aside and be able to at least sit down amicably and host guests and have these conversations that you guys got famous for, try it, bro. Haram. Like, it's hard. And this is why I think they haven't stopped their Patreon. I'm kind of poking fun and making fun, but I think Moraine is scared to stop the Patreon because if you shut it down, it's hard to get these people to sign back up. They're going to be like, oh, fuck it. It's done. I'm not going to sign back up. And then you're like, hey, no, I'm kidding. I was kidding. We're back. We set it back up. Come on back. A lot of them aren't going to come back. Half of the patrons probably forgot they're signed up to the Patreon and they're getting charged without even knowing. You know what I mean? So I think that's the fear that he has, because that's a fear that I would have. If I were to, maybe if I wanted to take a break, but I wasn't sure when I wanted to come back, I would ask myself, like, do I shut down the Patreon? But if I shut it down and I launch it again, will anyone join, or would everyone have abandoned me? I'm guessing that's what they're thinking. So if there's any chance for Mideh and Moraine to work this out, just like the advice that I had for Jawad and Rana, like, if I'm sure Jawad tried everything to get Rana back, like, if you can maintain the show, the format that made you guys successful, try to do that. And again, I'm sure what I'm saying, they've thought about it and they've tried and they've probably talked about it. Like, can we do this? What if we try to do this? What if I host an episode one week and you host another episode another week and we don't have to interact at all? Maybe they've talked about options like that. But to think that it would get all the way to like litigation, that's crazy to me. And again, maybe the person who told me that
that is crazy.
Maybe the person who told me that misheard. Maybe Mideh was joking about, maybe I should just sue Moraine for ownership. Maybe she was joking and someone interpreted that joke as fact and like shared it with someone that then shared it with someone that got
maybe word of mouth, and it can get crazy.
Téléphone cassé, it got fucking lost in the shuffle, lost in translation. But to me, like, it doesn't seem that crazy because it is a big channel and 200,000 subscribers. Some of their episodes get 1 million views. A lot of their views come from abroad. You bet your ass that channel's making good ad money. It's making some decent AdSense. So there's some decent money coming in right now. And what is the deal? Did they come to an agreement? We were doing some research on Instagram. We saw that Mideh just recently got a new job.
She's in Saudi
Arabia. She's got a new job. She's happy. Seems like peace has been made at a company that Moraine is involved in. So I'm like, all good. Everything seems to be fine. Why would she be working there if she wasn't fine? So to me, I think I either misheard, either it was a lie. But apparently, Mideh wanted to sue Moraine from Sarde After Dinner, folks. A show that entertained people and educated people for like 3.5. I don't know how long it lasted. 3 years. I know we've been going on for 4 years, going on 5. But yeah, I mean, and look, maybe they wanted to end it on a high note. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm running this channel into the ground. I'm not going to stop until I make everybody hate me. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck this channel is now. Nobody knows. What's the show about? America, you know what I mean? They ended it on a high note. They left people wanting more, which is what I'm not doing. We're giving you two-hour episodes this week. I'm making y'all sick of me. You know what I mean? 5 hours of me. Is that what you want? That's what you're getting. I said it didn't do that. What do you think about all this controversy?
Holding on to Patreon is like, he's holding on to
He's holding on to hope.
To hope of a podcast.
And maybe he's been trying to like come up with solutions. So he's like, I don't want to give a half-assed update on Instagram. Like, hey guys, we'll be back in 2 months. We're still figuring things out. And then like, hey, back, we still didn't figure it out. So give us another 2 months. I guess he doesn't want to say anything unless he is sure of what he's going to say. But at this point, 9 months, the Patreon's still going. You got comments all the time like, where are you guys, by the way? Like, when? Like, they missed the whole war, but there was a whole war that happened in Lebanon. You think the world like didn't need another podcast with such a big audience sharing what was happening? Like, we were fucking carrying the torch by ourselves, bro, during the war here, man. We had the whole responsibility.
They say, I know it's hard to do podcasts, so I know it's disrespectful. But I don't see.
We were talking about the war. We were raising awareness about the war.
We really raised awareness, and all our new foreign viewers, they're amazing.
We love them. We love our new foreign. And is anyone like are foreigners watching right now? Like are American?
Yes, they are.
They're still watching.
They literally are. And Haley just gifted 5 members.
Haley, God, stop, Haley. Oh my God, we love you, Haley. You're gonna get the biggest shout out in the member stream next week. But I mean. Or is anyone commenting like in the chat about Sarde? Like, what are they saying about Sarde? Did anyone watch Sarde in the chat? What do you guys think about this?
I think our Lebanese audience our American audience are just like making fun.
I mean, yeah, the fact that it would get to, and again, I'm really being sincere when I say this, despite the differences I've had. Like, Medea and I used to follow each other on Instagram. She unfollowed me after I called them out for uninviting me from their podcast. Try to make it work, man. I don't know. Like, it's just so hard. Like, I would kill to have 200,000 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it would be great. And I was always happy for their success despite everything. But I don't know, man. Definitely weird. But yeah, apparently lawsuits, folks. And again, allegedly, don't sue me. Maybe, yeah, if you are lawsuit happy, don't be coming for me now, please. That will be mean. Okay, and I'll be very sad if you do that.
If Moine is getting a different host and you're not getting your cut, definitely sue him.
But and what does Sarde look like without Medea? Like, is it gonna become like a fun, chill podcast now? Like, are they gonna get like comedians and like just like?
It's not the same show without her red lipstick.
And without them smoking Icos and all of that. Like, you gotta.
True.
Like, are they gonna do Sarde live streams? Like, you know what I mean? There's something.
They really should. They really should.
I feel like it's depressing though. You know, they gotta change the vibe.
I used to watch them sometimes if I liked the guest. I was a fan.
You need more fun vibes on that show. That's what I would say. The vibes were a bit depressing, but hey, that's what some people are into, and that's
it ended up being depressing.
I'm not here to tell them like they were 10 times as successful as this channel. So who am I to give them any advice?
Also, Anola. Sorry if I said that wrong. They say it would be really funny if the show devolved into them having a fight in front of the guest, forcing them to get involved in their drama.
Right, that would be, so that's the one advantage of it being live. If they were live and they got into a fight live on air, and also it's very complicated. Like, this also shows you like it's complicated to host a podcast with like a significant other. Like, H3 made it work for so many years because they were married, I guess. So they were like, okay, this is fine. If starting a show with like, I mean, their podcast I think started while they were a pretty like young couple, so they grew as a couple in parallel with the show, which is a weird and interesting dynamic to also take into account. Like, maybe they were unhappy for the last 2 years, but they kind of stuck it out and stayed together for the sake of the podcast. Like, we don't know. We're not privy. And again, I'm not trying to speculate. I'm just like trying to show you, like, maybe they already sacrificed. Like, maybe they tried to make it work. Maybe it wasn't working, their relationship, but they're like, fuck it, we can't end the show because we got such a good thing going. So maybe the last 10 episodes of the podcast that they made, they like couldn't stand each other, but they're like sitting there trying to make it work. We don't know. We're not going to know unless they speak about it, and they don't have to talk about it. We're just speculating. I just heard that crazy rumor, and I was like...
People would pay money to hear about it.
And it felt selfish of me not to share what I had heard. I was like, I don't want to be selfish. I want to share that juicy rumor with the people. You know, you deserve to hear what we heard and to know what we know. And yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Should Sarde come back? How should Sarde come back? Should Moain do live streams? Should Moain do a solo show? Should Moain find another co-host? Should they just do another format? The channel can stay called Sarde After Dinner, but they launch a new show under a new title, new vibes, completely different hosts. Maybe Moain just produces and he tries to find new talent to take over the channel. All I'm saying is Medea deserves a part of the ad revenue. And if those patrons are still paying, you better be sending Medea a check every month for that Patreon money, because she deserves it. Our girl be working hard.